got it. 98 to the point. Can he clear? Yes.
Comes up right in front of Gregson.
Oh, Rick. And we got trouble. That's Jeff Burton. Austin center of the round.
A lot of great cars right here.
Oh, no. Big hits, too.
We didn't have a big one in this race 1 year ago.
That's inside to go at Daytona.
Yeah,
That's all I can say about that.
Pushing back and forth on a restart. Bad things happen. So the 8's going to push the 9. The 22's going to catch up to the
98 comes up and blocks and stacks him up right here. 22 gets in the back of the 8, knocks him down. The rest is history.
Just kind of one of those stack-ups.
But it's a block. A block stacked him up and created that, but that block was a necessity. If the 98 of Chase Briscoe wouldn't have moved up and slowed down the momentum, he would have been passed right there.
Where is the balance on that, Brad? That's a conversation that's been a focal point all week long.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to continue to see this. And, you know, part of it is, you know, these cars can take pushes, but as it works its way back, that energy works its way back, as it did here. The 8 car couldn't take a push. He was already lifting and slowing down. Then he got hit from the back. Car's already light. Instantly turns him around. It's just, you know, to me, that's just one of them racing deals. There are some blocks that I think are bad blocks. I don't think that was a terrible block. He made one move, and it just all stacked up.
You know, one thing I saw, he didn't quite get all the way up in front of him. It was like he was trying to figure out, do I get up there? Do I not? Am I clear? You know, it was like he didn't trust his instinct or the spotter telling him didn't quite get all the way up.
Trouble in turn number 3. Sheldon Creek gets turned onto the bottom. Chain reaction crash. Up in turn number 3. One truck up in smoke. It's going to wad up Zane Smith and a handful of others as they slide and crash all the way to turn 4 in front of Dan Hubbard.
Ace Purdy is also involved. I believe Zane Smith was involved. You heard Mike say there are at least 5 to 6 trucks that are wrecked here to the bottom groove of turns 3 and 4.
Hill made contact with Creed, turned him onto the apron, but in the chain reaction of everybody trying to check up, about halfway through the field, contact was made. Trucks began to spin. Zane Smith was one of them. There were several others. Dan, that crash started in 3, but it ended over towards you in turn 4.
Was the truck of Dawson Cram. That's about the only number that I can read from my vantage point, but we have 5 wrecked trucks here, so the cleanup is going to take a while.
Yeah, and trying to figure out every truck that was inbound is going to take a while. Why don't we do this? We'll take a quick break. We're working under caution flag number 1. 14 laps will be complete when Christian Eckes comes across the line next time.
The 14 up. The 9 out of shape. Here comes the 22. Logano's going to take the lead away from Denny Hamlin. 2 laps to go.
Bubba Wallace on the outside.
Big run. Contact made again. Bubba Wallace sideways. Can he save it?
William Byron. They're ready.
Now the 22 goes around.
Hold the brake.
He's going to come out now. Big wreck behind him. Bubba Wallace got through. Tyler Reddick hard hit. Jimmy Johnson caught up in the 48.
Yeah, big damage on Jimmy's car.
Could this be it for the 7-time champion? Not making the playoffs in his final year.
Watch William Byron. So there's big contact right there with Bubba Wallace. Then William Byron through the middle. Even more contact with William Byron. I think that's where maybe the 22 car lost the right rear tire. Either that or just got turned around. Yeah, once Joey gets up the racetrack, watch right here. There's contact all the way off turn 4, coming through the trial. Well, Joey makes a big move. Feeling like he's in really good shape right here. Bubba Wallace to the outside. The 11 is to the back of Joey Logano. That gets him into Bubba Wallace. William Byron makes it 4 wide. Now that's when they make a contact, cut the right rear tire. Matty D could not get slowed down, and that's how quickly things happen at Daytona. Just a point of the race where you can't lift. You cannot lift right there.
Eric Jones hard into the wall. We heard him on the radio just moments ago responding to his crew. He said, "I'm all right," but you could tell he was trying to catch his breath. Flames rolling out from the right front of that car.
Let's take a look at the replay. Oh, boy. Oh.
such a nasty, nasty angle into turn 3. One of the fastest parts of the racetrack for these guys. And, you know, it's just, there's no practice. It's a green racetrack. It's incredibly abrasive. We've seen this track just destroy tires throughout a tire test. These tires, even this far into the race, are still not able to go through an entire run. Steve, you talked about it, how this track has grooves in it, and it's like a cheese grater to these tires. It takes quite a while for this place to work in. There's been no laps on it.
Drivers, how scary is that when you see the flames roll under the hood and you're strapped in?
My biggest concern isn't the fire, it's that impact. That impact is such a hard, difficult angle, going so fast.
Trouble. Correct.
Here's the big one. Man.
Well, there goes half the field.
Sure does.
And it's Ryan Newman leading them around.
You can see Joey Logano really aggressive to the rear bumper of the 10. He's going to push him all the way up to the 2. And they just, right before the 10 gets there, there's a little bit of movement. And that little bit of movement, when you make that much contact, turns your car right around. That's exactly what happened to Brad Keselowski and the 10 of Almirola.
And that happens right in front of most of the field.
And that really all started with a big push from Joey Logano. Remember Joey Logano talking on the radio earlier about, you got to tell me when I'm pushing that car and it's going to make contact with the car in front of us. Well, that happened right there with his teammate. Sort of swaying back and forth right before he made contact with the 2. Hooks his bumper, turns him around.
Oh, he slammed Alex Bowman. And it's on. And for the second time in less than a handful of years, Eric Almirola ends up being knocked out of a good chance to win the Daytona 500.
That didn't balance properly and it just got worse. Joey, you know that any vibration when you're in a pack like this, especially when you're a rookie, oh, there it goes. In the middle.
Oh, no. Austin made himself upside down as the 45 of Majeski.
Let's hope he gets back on his tires here. That thing's square on the roof. What a shame.
Time Majeski and his truck comes to a stop.
You just know with all that movement, bouncing back and forth, side to side, trying to side draft, one guy zigs, the other one zags, and you have a mess. In back of the...
That's Fogelman in the 0-2, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then, man, Majeski just turned sideways down the front, and it just tipped right over. NASCAR does so much work in the wind tunnel to have flaps, air flaps, different panels on the truck that blow away that is supposed to prevent that, but probably just one of those circumstances that put him in real jeopardy.
Yeah, and you know, bumping through the tri-oval here is the sketchiest place to do it. And you see that big set that you saw that white truck make right there. He needed room to save it, and you try to do everything you can to not run into other cars. You try to do everything you can to keep your truck going straight. And unfortunately, wrong place at the wrong time for time.
Lap 108, you're clear. 108 at the line here.
Oh, we got a crash. 48 goes around the big one.
Big wreck behind you.
Kurt Busch climbed all over the top of the 41 of Custer. The 2 is around. Playoff contenders involved. Kurt Busch won a week ago. He's safe into the round of 8. Everyone else is still fighting for points and positions. The 62, Brendan Gaughan, his final NASCAR race was taking place, and he has severe damage to that car.
14 car has the 48 car out of control through the tri-oval and gets into the left rear quarter panel and turns the 48. Right there, the 14's pushing the 48, gets his turnaround. Now, off the right, Kurt Busch way up in the air. Fortunately, came down on his tires. There it starts, right there. That
trial, but we talked about it earlier. That is the worst place. That's where your car has the least amount of grip around this racetrack.
Haley, not a great restart here as Ryan C gets off to a good start, and now they're 4 wide going into 1.
That's it.
Oh, and around goes the 7, hard into the outside wall.
Buddy, hang on. Hang on.
On the apron, the 21 of Anthony Alfredo was into the wall hard. He's upside down, sliding through 1 and 2. Looks like the 18 back there of Riley Herbst also involved. AMR safety crew will get to Anthony Alfredo quickly here. This will bring out a red flag as they will work to get Anthony out of the car.
But 2 or 3 rows back, that 7 of Justin Allgaier gets a big run, goes to the apron. Next thing we know, we're 4 wide on the apron, Jeff.
Yeah, everybody's got to go. Everybody has tires trying to get track position. And Allgaier was just on the apron, entered the corner on the apron, and ended up getting up into the side of the 21.
Yeah, he ran out of, at some point, you have to make the corner. The corner has the banking. There were so many cars above him, he couldn't get up on the banking. It looked like he lost control. Take another look at it. Focus on that bright red or orange number 7 back here. That's kind of where the whole thing starts.
And normally you think you're going to get down here and you're going to slide up into the racetrack, but he just never had a chance to. Allgaier just kind of, I think, needed to give that spot up, get out of the throttle, but knowing there's a race win, if you can make it work, maybe ahead of you, just chose to stay in the gas.
And look at this car. It gets up on its side. It's sliding. You know, these cars have roof flaps that design them to stay on the ground when you see a high-speed rollover, say a restrictor plate track. But here, that wasn't really an aerodynamic thing. The cars aren't going at top speed on this restart. That's just the force of this car hitting that outside wall, throws it up into the air, and then, Jeff, as we saw, it slides to a stop on its roof.
Chase is going to be able to push that Atlanta car back out front, more wrecking.
And around goes the 95 and the 97.
Hard hit on
the wall.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, it's awful.
Ryan Preece in the 37.
Fantastic. That's Ryan talking.
Glad to hear that.
But the winning it down, man, that's good to see.
Yeah.
That was scary. That's one of those wrecks that when you're watching it, or especially if you're Ryan Preece in that car, the angle at which you're approaching that inside wall,
It's a violent crash.
got into, Christopher Bell trying to get up in front of him, then they make contact. Poor Ryan Preece. We talked about he's had a string of last place finishes, and wow, such a Junior and I in this booth, when he was heading to that wall, we were both cringing. It's not what you want to see, but it's good to see him get out of that car. Look at this angle of impact.
So violent. 3,400 pounds of race car just thrown up into the air after it bounced off that inside wall.
Oh, this thing's not over yet. Not at all.
Ryan Newman off turn 4 for the final time. Blaney to the outside, to the inside. Here comes Hamlin up the outside.
Wow.
Crash into the wall, into the air. Goes Newman.
Upside down.
In a shower of sparks on his roof, Ryan Newman comes across the line for it. And comes to rest. Scoring. Unofficial. Between Hamlin and Blaney as far as who crossed the finish line first.
Here comes a huge run by Ryan Blaney, being pushed by Denny Hamlin. He tries to go to the outside, then the inside. They lock bumpers, and turns Ryan Newman around. Upside down he goes. Corey LaJoie coming along, making contact.
Just lifting Newman's car up and over. Comes to rest on its roof. Here is the second closest finish in Daytona 500 history. Denny Hamlin the winner in both of them. This time it is Ryan Blaney finishing second. Blaney tried the top side, tried to get low, Ryan Newman goes around. The car goes to its roof, and here's the on-rushing Corey LaJoie, picking it up and over.